History is said to be written by the winners. An example of this are the conquistadors who traveled across the Atlantic Ocean in search of a new land and eventually conquered North America. These conquistadors were seen as pioneers and the voyage was seen as a positive event. Christopher Columbus Day was an event that symbolized the acquisition of new land, but recently was retracted due to the view that the conquest was unethical. With the advent of more efficient ways of communication, revolting events have been exposed to the public. From concentration camps in Uyghur to genocide of Rwanda, all these events have been hidden by leaders who desire to place themselves in a better light. The Vietnamese War is a similar situation, with the American perspective being the most well-known and other perspectives being buried underneath it. Historical events ought to be seen through multiple perspectives in order to get the proper representation of the events that took place in the past.
Currently in America, the Vietnamese War is seen as a pointless war to many, with the communism successfully taken over the South and America's economy dwindling after the effects of the war. On top of this, there were many underlying issues in coming into the war. According to The New Yorker, political and military leaders misunderstood the enemy's motives. They misread conditions on the ground. They tried to beat unconventional fighters with conventional tactics. They massacred civilians. President Johnson, unwilling to raise taxes to fund the war, released a new cycle of inflation that detrimentally affected the American economy. The war also created division in America, splitting those who wanted to end the war with those who wanted to continue fighting. One side saw the communist North taking control of the South, when the other saw a huge side of money and time in a war that didn't even involve them. The amplitude of division could be reflected in the November 15, 1969 protest, which was the largest anti-war demonstration in American history. This reflects the amount of people wanting change and represents the one side of the country that was divided due to the war. Overall, the American perspective is significant, as it shows the true magnitude of loss done to America and highlights the importance of seeing all the perspectives. As for the Northern Vietnamese perspective, it would see America fighting a war to stop a country from unifying.
American soldiers also add an important perspective to the Vietnam War. Their mental states were heavily altered throughout the course of this war. Tim O'Brien, a veteran of the Vietnam War, published an award-winning novel, The Things They Carried, in 1990, highlighting his own experiences as well as others. When dealing with a dead body, O'Brien states how one American soldier moved to the dike and sat holding his stomach. His face was pale. O'Brien's inclusion shows revolt and disgust from this soldier, which is a normal reaction that would be shown by many. However, after dealing with the dead soldier's body, O'Brien stated how, for all the men, it was a relief to have it finished, for there was a promise now of finding a hooch somewhere or maybe an abandoned pagoda where they could strip down and wring out their fatigues and maybe start a hot fire. They felt bad, but they also felt a kind of giddiness, a secret joy because they were alive. This display of the American soldiers' twisted emotions such as relief or feeling happy shows the abnormal change in their morals and ideals. It shows how they became less human throughout the course of the war, accepting daily death as a normal occurrence. The implementation of this new perspective to the Vietnam War shows how those on the front lines were directly affected. It demonstrates how war negatively impacts those actively fighting on the front lines, twisting their emotions and making them less humane.
The Northern Vietnamese perspective is widely different from those of the Americans. While most Americans knew why they were fighting, the Vietnamese civilians had no clue why they were being attacked. From an interview with Vu Van Vin, a civilian of Hanoi during the time of the war, "We were really confused why the Americans tried to invade our homelands. We hadn't done anything to them. People didn't even know what communism was. They just knew what was going on with their lives." In contrast to what most people think, the people of northern Vietnam weren't cold-blooded communists, but regular civilians who were just living their lives. By seeing through the eyes of a civilian of northern Vietnam, they are humanized and changes this perspective of us versus them into one where it shows that everyone is effective.
While Americans saw the war as one against communism, for the soldiers of northern Vietnam, it was one of unity. According to an interview with Nguyen Dang Phat, a northern Vietnamese army veteran,
"This war was a fight for independence. All the people wanted to stand up and fight and protect the country. Everyone wanted to help this house and see the country united again."
in the eyes of the soldiers of northern Vietnam, they were the ones who were trying to reunify the country, but America was interfering with that process. This shows the importance of having multiple perspectives, as if you only saw the side of the Americans, you would think that northern Vietnam was only trying to spread communism. But by seeing the perspective of the northern Vietnamese, you can see that they're trying to fight for their reunification and the independence of their country, something that Americans have fought for themselves in the Revolutionary and Civil War.
From the Americans who believed they were fighting a pointless war, to the Vietnamese desperately fighting against a sudden attack, both sides highlighted new perspectives which would not have been possible if only one side had been fully analyzed. Even the American and Vietnamese soldiers brought a new perspective onto the event, reflecting a negative light onto the war. Ultimately, by viewing the Vietnam War through multiple perspectives, we are able to thoroughly analyze and reflect on the effects of the war. It is therefore crucial to view history with multiple lenses in order to gain a full understanding of what happened. Thank you.